Hello everyone, this is Ron from HiTech Legion, and this is part of our review of the ASUS GTX580 DirectCU II video card. And this is the overclocking and fan noise comparison section. And as you can see, we have our overclocked numbers here already. If you're not familiar with this software yet, this is the ASUS GPU Tweak utility. We first covered it on the ASUS GTX580 Matrix Platinum Republic of Gamers video card review, and this GPU Tweak utility has a few less features than the standard ROG version. Of course, the ROG video cards are the high-end video cards from ASUS, and they also have a lot more voltage controls and overclocking options than the standard GTX580. That doesn't mean, of course, that the GTX580 DirectCU II is not an overclockable video card. As you can see, we managed to overclock it to 912 MHz with the memory clock at 4158 QTDR, and this is with the voltage cranked up to 1.15. And in case you didn't see our review of the GTX580 Matrix Platinum, we're going to go over the GPU Tweak software utility once again, because it has slightly different outlook than what we saw in the ROG version. The ROG version, of course, has a lot more options, while the non-ROG version is slightly toned down, but you still have some impressive set of features for overclocking and for monitoring your software. And just a quick recap, of course, we have the sliders. You can see the value there. We can enter our values there, and to bring up the monitor built in, just simply click right here in the bottom. It should pop up on the left side. There we go. And see, we have our GPU temperature, we have our GPU fan speed, and GPU usage, vid usage, and FP usage. And at the bottom you have your memory clock, core clock, and processor clock. Now the best part about this is that you can adjust these values. You can actually just click the settings for the monitor, and you can just simply drag and drop which value you want to move at the top and at the bottom. For example, I'd like the voltage, for example, GPU voltage, and I'd like just drag that up above. See there, apply, and of course hit back. You see it right there. Just doing that. Since we're not really doing anything, it's idle. It's actually at, it says 962 millivolts, and we're essentially at idle. The fan speed is really low at 15%, and the GPU temperature is at 34, and that is with our overclocked settings of 912 megahertz and 4158 megahertz memory clock. And of course the core voltage has been cranked up to 1.15, which is pretty much the maximum safe on air. Well, that the software allows. You can obviously push it more if you're a more adventurous type of overclocker, but we'll stick to 1.15 volts for now. And of course there's the profile buttons. You can save at the bottom. We have this, let me just show an example of how this is used. I have if I just hit default, and you'll see the default values of our GTX580 DirectCU II is 782 megahertz, which is just 10 megahertz more than the standard reference GTX580. And the memory clock is the same as our reference GTX580. And I have already saved a profile, for example, the first bank. That is where I saved the overclock. You can see it just immediately recalls it. I don't even need to hit the apply button. It immediately applies that 912 megahertz overclock. Now we're going to test the fan speed, the fan noise rather. So I am going to pay attention to the fan speed over here, and you can also see a little bit of the fan duty speed here, 15% on the monitoring chart. So I am going to hit manual mode and crank it 10% each time until you hear it to its most audible level. Actually, I'm going to take a look at my notes here, and I ran 3D Mark 11. Let me hit default for now, just to keep things to the safe value. With the default 782 megahertz core clock, the maximum load I've achieved with 3D Mark 11 test 1 looping was 65 degrees Celsius, and with the fan speed only cranking up to 27 megahertz. So that's pretty low still. We're going to keep that in mind as I crank this up slowly at 10% value each until you hear the 27% mark, so you can compare. So okay, so hit manual mode, and I'm going to stay quiet for the entire time so you can compare. Now, if you notice that once it went past the 45% mark, it became really audible. But thankfully, the fan speed under load for the default clocks is about 27% maximum on 3D Mark 11 Loop 1, and on the overclock setting it reached 35% fan speed, and it kept it at 85 degrees Celsius maximum on the overclocked 912 megahertz. But on the overclocked, or on the stock clocks, it was at 65 degrees Celsius and at 27%. So that's fairly quiet, and you'll never really reach that level. You'll never reach 100% fan speed unless you actually run Oct or a firm mark, which is actually the DirectCU II GTX580, unlike the reference GTX580, does not have the power limiter, so you can actually run Oct, and it will pretty much stress your card to the upper thermal limit as you would cards without the power limiter that was put in place by NVIDIA. And just to take a look at again some of the features of the GPU tweak utility, you have this is the tuning window right here. For the settings, you can set it to apply your overclock at the beginning, and set it to load when Windows starts. And here you can also adjust, similar to the monitoring window, you can adjust your priority of whichever whichever value you want to tweak in your tuning window. And here you can set it to load startup, or rather not, and this is where your benchmark quick utility is. For example, you want to launch firm mark. When you press this benchmark launch button, you can set it to where your firm mark or afterburner or whatever benchmarking utility you want to run. And you also have the live update. Recording, which is right now is currently grayed out. We'll see maybe in future releases this will be available. and the hotkey so that you can overclock or apply your profiles while you're inside an application, so you don't need to alt tab or switch to the GPU tweak utility. It's fairly convenient. And just cancel that. The info is the GPU Z built in, but seems to be a problem with the application running. Not a problem, it's just a little minor bug in that software. But the main GPU tweak utility, thankfully, does not have that. Does not have problems running.